Salvati discipuli. Today, you are going to learn the first lesson in Chapter 4 in Latin for the New Millennium. As you can see, my voice is back. Yay. And this lesson is on the perfect active subjunctive for all conjugations, sum and possum. Now, when you guys learn the present indicative, active or passive, I told you then that the perfect system is awesome because it works the same way for all verbs. That is true in the indicative and it is true in the subjunctive. So as you learn this new tense, you're only learning perfect active subjunctive today. Fine. But as you learn this new tense, it works the same way for all conjugations, all verbs, irregular, non-irregular, whatever, for sum and for possum, okay? So if it can form a perfect active subjunctive, this is how it does it. Okay, to form the perfect active subjunctive, you need the perfect active stem. That makes sense. Just to remind you, the perfect active stem is the third principal part, and you remove the long I ending, okay? Then you add ERI, and then you add the personal endings, and I remind you of the personal endings here, MST, MUS, TIS, and T. And that's it. Now, if in your head you're thinking through what the perfect active stem plus ERI plus the personal endings look like, and if you're doing this, you might be thinking to yourself now, oh my goodness, this looks like, for the most part, the future perfect active indicative. And you would be right. The perfect active subjunctive and the future perfect active indicative will look alike. Except for the first person singular, by the way, because for the future perfect active indicative, that would be ERO. So there's that. How are you going to tell the difference between the two? You know what? Actually, it's somewhat easy. It's not as difficult as maybe you might think at first blush. The perfect subjunctive is pretty much only going to be used in subjunctive subordinate clauses. So if you have the perfect active subjunctive and it's in a purpose clause or any of the number of clauses you're going to be learning over the next couple of months, including but not limited to the indirect question, which you're learning in this chapter in a later video, or result clause, cum clauses, any of those clauses. That's where you're going to see perfect active subjunctives. That is not where you're going to see any indicative, much less the future perfect active indicative, okay? And the perfect subjunctive really can't be used as the main verb in a sentence, right? It can't be the main verb in the main clause. So if you have something like, I don't know, amāvī as the main verb in the main clause, that is probably going to be the future perfect active indicative. So, you know, how it's being used is important because that is going to be a very big hint as to whether we have the perfect active subjunctive or the future perfect active indicative, okay? Okay, so let's look at how these endings form on actual verbs. So I have a couple of charts here. You guys should write all of them down. And we're going to start with our first paradigm verb, amo, amāre, amāvī, amātum. So amāvīrem, amāvīres, amāvīret, amāvīremis, amāvīretis, amāvīrent. As I just said, the perfect subjunctive, just like the imperfect subjunctive, just like the pluperfect subjunctive, which we'll learn later in this chapter, they don't have a translation that you can just put in one of these charts because they translate within subjunctive subordinate clauses. So since they really can't be, for the most part, they kind of can, and we'll learn about this later, the main verb in the main clause, you don't have to translate them within these charts, okay? Okay, ago, agere, agi, actum. So the perfect active subjunctive is agerem, ageres, ageret, ageremis, ageretis, agerent. And then, of course, as always, I want to show you how this forms on our two verbs, sum and possum. So the perfect subjunctive, because remember, sum and possum don't really have an active or a passive, are fuarim, fuaris, fuarit, fuarimus, fuaritus, fuarit. And then for possum, potuīrim, potuīris, potuīrit, potuīrimus, potuīritus, potuīrint. Okay, so make sure you take good notes. Make sure you write out your charts, and I will see you in class. Wala te discipuli.